From VPM News in Richmond, I'm Craig Carper. Joining me now is Richmond Times-Dispatch columnist and VPM's political analyst, Jeff Schapiro. Jeff, good morning.
Hi there, Craig. Bummer about Northern Neck soda, huh?
Yes, we're all disappointed in that news, including Governor Ralph Northam, I understand, who says he's going to do something about it.
Yes, a little less fizz in life with Northern Neck going flat.
That's right. Jeff, three congressional races are in the national spotlight, all in districts carried by Donald Trump in 2016. Two are now held by Democrats, and there's a chance they'll take the third.
So let's start here in town. The 7th district, anchored in the Richmond suburbs of Chesterfield and Henrico. Abigail Spanberger, the Democratic incumbent, faced by Republican challenger Nick Freitas. They debated on VPM the other day. What struck me about that encounter was Spanberger's ability to come up with a few nice thoughts about Donald Trump, in particular on his trade policy, and Nick Freitas not being too adoring of the president. I think that's a measure of how this race is going to be decided. The votes that elected, and certainly Abigail Spanberger hopes re-elect her, are going to be most abundant in Chesterfield and Henrico. Freitas has got to dig into that vote somehow. The insurance policy for someone like Spanberger is going to be in the countryside, digging into the strong Trump vote. Remember, when that seat tipped to the Democrats 2 years ago, Abigail Spanberger defeated Dave Bratt, the incumbent, by 8 percentage points in Chesterfield, Henrico. But when the countryside came in, her margin narrowed to 2%. Sticking out west, the 5th district, this is that Charlottesville-anchored district. Cameron Webb, the Democratic nominee running against Bob Good. This is an open seat because Republicans dumped unceremoniously and ignominiously Denver Riggleman, the freshman incumbent, because he was the celebrant at a same-sex wedding. The Republicans are sharply divided as a consequence of that. A lot of ill will. Cameron Webb has a substantial advantage in money. It manifests itself in advertising, which includes ads spotlighting Republican support for Webb's candidacy. Now, the planets are going to have to align in this heavily red district for Webb to win. But there are a lot of people who think that this just may be the year that happens. Down in Southampton Roads, in the 2nd district, Elaine Luria, the Democratic incumbent, is in a grudge match with Scott Taylor, the Republican she knocked off 2 years ago. He had a single term in Congress. That district has been re-rated, now leans Democratic by the handicappers up in Washington, and recent polling just this week by the Watson Center, Christopher Newport University, shows Luria up 7 percentage points, helped by women and a large number of independent voters. One of the problems that Taylor seems to have in that race is Taylor. There's still a lot of fallout from that election's irregularity investigation that snagged some of his supporters a couple of years ago.
And a fresh statewide poll by the Washington Post reveals that Virginia is a safe bet for Joe Biden, that he's in better shape here than Hillary Clinton was 4 years ago against Donald Trump.
Yeah, Biden is ahead 52%, over 50%. That's important. By 11 points leads Trump, who's at 41. I just want to note the Post also tested Senate preferences. It is no surprise that the Democratic incumbent, Mark Warner, is way ahead at 57%. Dan Gay, the Republican challenger, at 39%, an advantage of 18 percentage points for Warner. The suburbs are huge for Democrats, particularly in Northern Virginia. Biden, just in the D.C. suburbs, has a 44% advantage over Trump. That's 3 clicks better than Hillary Clinton did in that neighborhood back in 2016. What I think is really interesting about the Post poll, and again, these regional findings should be handled somewhat gingerly because the number of interviews on which they're based is quite small. But in Southwest Virginia, the Trumpiest area of the state, it includes counties where Trump won the primary by some of the largest margins in the nation. The president is ahead only, according to the Post, by 10 percentage points. He led Clinton out in Southwest by 33% in 2016. I think the explanation for this may have to do with the president's performance rating. It is underwater. More Virginia voters disapprove of Trump's performance than approve. That's 57% say he's doing a crummy job. 41% say he's doing a good job.
Jeff, Friday is your last chance to request an absentee ballot, and a close look at early balloting, in person and by mail, suggests that more than 2 in 3 Virginians, because of the pandemic, are voting early for the first time.
Virginia has 5.5 million registered voters. More than 1 million have already cast early ballots, whether in person or by mail. That's north of 20%. And that percentage of votes cast for the first time early, 68% of Virginians are doing so for the first time. And of course, this is because of the plague. The folks at the Virginia Public Access Project have drilled down on these early voting numbers using some very fancy formulae, and there are some interesting findings. According to VPAP, of those early ballots, 66% were cast by Democrats, 24% by Republicans, 10% could not be determined party preference. And in a richly suburban state, this is important too. Most of those ballots, those early ballots, have been cast by women, nearly 60% by women and about 40% by men.
And Jeff, finally, Governor Ralph Northam is ordering an investigation into systemic racism at his alma mater, the Virginia Military Institute, which, post George Floyd, is under pressure to de-emphasize its Confederate past.
This is a sort of, it's interesting how this all happened. The Washington Post, as you may recall, last Sunday had a story about the culture, if you will, at VMI. It was not dissimilar to a story that appeared in the Roanoke Times back in June. Both of these articles laid out in some details the concerns of Black cadets, Black alums of the Institute. But I guess, the Washington Post, a more widely circulated newspaper, that story got a lot of attention. So Northam, along with essentially the entire Democratic hierarchy of the state, is calling for this independent investigation. VMI says it has nothing to hide, and VMI has been trying to, kind of get ahead of this racial justice story. The superintendent, General Vinnie P., put together a plan that is supposed to de-emphasize the school's Confederate past, but it also tends to preserve all that Confederate iconography up there. This is a college president in a tight spot. All those old guard traditionalists who came out of VMI liked things the way they are, but there are a lot of younger, more progressive alums who believe that there should be change. Of course, if VMI doesn't change, and it has before, it admitted blacks in 1968, the last public school in Virginia, public college in Virginia to do so. It admitted women in 1997 after the Supreme Court said it would have to. But there are nonetheless concerns about the Institute's future. Janet Howe, who is the head of the Senate Budget Writing Committee, says it just may be time. to shut down VMI, that perhaps it has outlived its usefulness. And if you think the VMI crowd is fighting mad now, just imagine what it'll be like if there's an actual effort to close down the Institute.
All right. Thanks to Jeff Schapiro, political columnist at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Jeff, we will catch up again next week.
Stay safe.
You as well.